Hi, everybody. It's Friday, June 25th, 2021. Time for the waxing, waning wisdom of Stefanie Drysdale's weekly cybersecurity recap number 77. Ms. Stefanie, welcome back.
Thank you, Chuck. How are you?
I'm doing well. Tell us what's going on in the cyber world. It just keeps getting worse, doesn't it? It seems like no matter what we think is going to happen next week, something happens again that's even bigger than the week before. It's just amazing. Tell us what's going on.
Right. And I think we can attribute that to just a bunch of really smart people. Some of them are doing really good things and others not so much. So I'll just jump right in. So this week, Forbes shared an article titled How to Become a Cyber Aware CEO. The article cites some really impactful and expensive breaches for many companies. So noting the commonalities is that they all have affected the company's revenue and their customer experience, which of course every CEO is going to have a huge priority on. So it offered some suggestions like educating yourself, taking even 15 minutes a day to read up on the latest cybersecurity issues and trends. It gave some specific source recommendations, even attending meetings with the CISO just to gain a little bit of extra insight. So of course, listening to the CISO, have a good relationship, and that includes seeing what they're seeing and hearing and predicting for the company, and ask good questions. Don't get too lost in the technicals, but think about your true priorities like supply chain and brand management, customer experience, revenue sourcing, and then ask the CISO to run it through his lens to identify those vulnerabilities and kind of figure out what fortifications are going to be needed. So TechRadar shared an article titled Sharing Devices at Work Could Be Your Company's Biggest Security Risk. So a report from NordVPN claims that people working in senior positions are 5 times more likely to share their work devices than other employees, with HR managers in the US and chief technical officers in the UK being the most likely culprits. So reasoning may be convenience to share things with their teams quickly and reliance on assistance and support staff. So another reason may be due to management having greater access to better devices and greater functionality than really should be granted to additional employees. So with insider threat accounting for nearly 2/3 of all data breaches, this makes identifying the insider threat, malicious or not, that much harder. So it recommends clear and concise cybersecurity policies, frequent employee trainings and monitoring of gear and systems and employees use to make sure that they're included in those updates. And we say it again and again for those of you that may have forgotten, create sophisticated single-use passwords, patch and upgrade software regularly, and back up and encrypt your important data often. So use password managers, VPNs, all really important stuff. Gabriel Friedlander from Wiser shared their smart home security guide with all the smart devices that we're going to connect to our home networks, and at the same time work devices that we use from home. It's so important to protect our home networks. I hate that it has to be said, but change the default PIN codes and passwords on your devices. TVs, routers, lots of devices come with defaults, and a simple scan can find them online, coupled with a quick Google search for their defaults. So change them, please, and fast. Keep smart devices on a separate Wi-Fi network. Keep your kids' gaming downloads off your homework network, and disable streaming services and Wi-Fi when you're not using it. Make sure all of your devices are updated regularly. Set up automatic updates whenever they're available, and don't reuse any passwords. Turn on two-factor authentication so you will know immediately if and when someone tries to log into one of your accounts. So never place smart devices with cameras in the bedrooms. I'll let you fill in the blanks there. Garrett Moreau shared a Cron.com article titled Hit by Ransomware Attack, Your Payment May Be Deductible. So it was a really interesting article, and I expect this will keep changing. But if the expense is considered ordinary and necessary, more like traditional crimes like robbery or embezzlement, ransomware payments are usually valid too for deductible. So it's a bit of a mixed message, which goes against the FBI's recommendations to not pay that ransomware, as it only strengthens and encourages the criminals. But in a situation like Colonial Pipeline, the impact on average citizens was so great that there were really not a whole lot of options. So an important thing to note is if the ransomware payment was made by a cyber insurer, that the deduction would not be allowed. So if unfortunately, you've been through a situation like that, definitely worth checking into and kind of set up those protections in advance, or know what your options are, post recovery. So, a couple articles this week on Vice and BBC.com showing how social engineering will supersede multi factor authentication every time. So, the examples were for WhatsApp and Slack, and it really could be any program at all, though. Both times were where the scammer sends a message asking someone to help them retrieve a code from their lost or stolen device or account, and then gains access to your conversations, your contacts, and continuing on to social engineer others in your circle. So beware of anyone trying to reach out to you seeking codes or other information or failing to go through the proper channels. I know that the policies and procedures can seem unnecessary and clunky at times, but they are the protections designed to prevent these types of scams. Edward Collegian shared an NJ.com article titled, "Is it a HIPAA violation for a business to ask for proof that you got a COVID vaccine?" With many places of employment and other businesses asking for proof of vaccines, either for entry or for capacity limitations, some have asked whether asking should be allowed. As for HIPAA, most employers and businesses aren't subject to HIPAA requirements as they aren't healthcare related. So this doesn't quite clarify whether or not an employer can mandate workers to be vaccinated, either due to choice or medical reason. But if an employee refuses to be vaccinated, they may be dismissed or required to continue wearing a mask even after the mask mandates are lifted. This could also include colleges and universities, so we'll definitely keep an eye on how this plays out. Brett Johnson contributed to a Money.com article titled "A Hacker's Guide to Protecting Yourself Online." Lots of great tips for everyone in this, from password managers to credit freezes to social engineering. Be sure to catch that whole article. It's way too good for me to share all of it here. Medium.com shared a blog written by Katie Nichols titled "A Cyber Threat Intelligence Self-Study Plan Part 1." This was so thorough and packed with resources for so many people that reach out to me wanting to venture into cybersecurity in the intelligence field. It has books, videos, webinars, courses, experts to follow. Lots of generous resources were shared here. So be sure to follow all the parts and bookmark it. I'll be sure to put it into the comments so you can find it. And add to that, Josh Mason has generously compiled a list of people and resources that are offering vouchers for trainings or a way for organizations to donate some. So be sure to give him a follow. And that's what I have for you all this week. I hope everyone is well and enjoying the summertime. It looks like we are nearly coming up on the 4th of July holiday. Chuck, you have big plans?
I'm going to be sitting on top of my roof, roasting s'mores, drinking whiskey, and watching all the fireworks in the entire city of Phoenix.
I love it. I love it. Well, I hope you all have a great week, and I will look forward to seeing you all next Friday.